And good evening, everybody, from the land of Kleintoon. Well, it is evening in the land of Kleintoon. It's probably about 7:30, I think, at night. Not quite sure. And I have a leftover dye bath from yesterday's dyeing of the kid mohair. The Hope yarn base that I did in the 3 different ways. And I'm just seeing I can do like finger puppets here. Sorry, getting sidetracked. So what I thought is before I go to bed, I'm just going to take some more yarn and put it into the dye bath, reuse the dye bath from yesterday. Waste not, want not. And then tomorrow morning add some color and see where we go. Tomorrow is Monday here where we live. Today is Sunday. And when I went into my cupboard, I had this one hank of Hope yarn left over from yesterday that was lying on my kitchen counter. And then I thought I'll just go and get another 2 or 3 of these. I have many in my stash waiting to be dyed. And then the first thing that my hands fell on was this, which is called Love. This is mohair merino, and let me just get my piece of paper out here. It is called Love. It is 78% mohair, 13% merino wool, 9% nylon, 200 meters on 100 grams. It's classified as a chunky or a bulky yarn, brushed, 12 ply, whereas the Hope is a 2 ply lace weight, 848 meters on 100 grams, 80% kid mohair, 20% polyamide. So, and that's of course African Expression yarns, SA Mills. So you can probably see here, and I think you've seen from previous dye projects, this is quite a lot thicker, and at only 200 meters to 100 grams, it's very, very thick and bulky. So I just laid it out on the kitchen counter to take some photos of it, and bada bing, bada bang, I'm busy dyeing. So what I thought I'm going to do is revisit a project I did quite a while ago, and that was just to add dry dye powder to the dry yarn and then add it to the dye bath. So previously I had first covered my kitchen counters in plastic, which I'm not going to do. This is completely an impromptu thing just before I go to bed, which is obviously going to be a bit later tonight. So I started off by just opening up the fibers a little bit, pulling the strands apart a little bit, just that the powder has a chance to go all over and in between and down the layers, and probably end up on my kitchen counter because it's a very fine powder. But this is also a very fine yarn. It might fall down the front here. I'll just squish them together. How about I put this one in the middle, the fine one? Yeah, let's do that. So now the Hope is in the middle. Give us hope. And we have Love on either side. I like that. Hope squashed between Love. Maybe that's going to be the title of this yarn. So I also just want to open up the strands, pull them apart a little bit, dig down in between the layers. What I have found so far dyeing this yarn is it's way more responsive to manipulation and doing stuff with it while it's dry. So if you want to do all kinds of funky things like I'm doing and fold it in all kinds of strange ways and manipulate it and pull the fibers apart, you cannot do that when it's wet. Definitely not going to work. So it's great to play with it while it's completely dry. So I just want to also squish it together that there's not too many holes down to my counter, and there we go. The colors I thought of using for this, let's try and see the screen and not cast a shadow, is bright yellow. These are all, of course, the Ashford protein dyes that I use. Ashford acid dyes for protein fiber. So bright yellow, red. Then the two greens that I have, peacock and shamrock. We're just a little bit late for St. Patrick's Day with the shamrock. And then my favorite color in the world, indigo. So I'm going to put these over on a towel that I have just off to the side here, just that I don't make too much mess. I've turned off all fans, anything that can create a draft, because previously I have actually found, you will not believe, but my air conditioning unit is about 10 meters in that direction on the other side of the dining room. And the other day when the air conditioner repair people were here, we found some of the sapphire dye powder on top of the air conditioner unit at its intake. That's 10 meters away. So I'm not wearing a respirator, I'm not wearing gloves, I'm not doing any of the things you're supposed to, so don't do as I do. Follow the safety regulations, wear a respirator, wear gloves, do all the things you're supposed to be doing. Don't do it in your kitchen where you're going to be cooking or eating. Don't use utensils that you use for dyeing for cooking. They are not compatible. So as I said, I'm doing this in my kitchen, on my kitchen counter, using my kitchen utensils. So please do not do that. Also, the other thing I must add is none of what I do is a tutorial, please. I'm no expert. I just like to share what I do. Maybe it gives you inspirations to try yourself. So it's me on my own in my kitchen. I don't have a company, I don't have a business, I don't have people working for me. It's just Kleintoon. So take from this what you want, leave what you want. Comment, please. I'd like to know what you are doing. Let me get some spoons. Actually, now that I'm digging in my cupboard, I think forks might work better because the prongs of the forks will catch the dye nice. So let's dig out. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors, 5 forks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 forks. And that's it. Let's pull up the sleeves. They're going to be shadows, so I'm going to apologize for that. And let us just start. I want to start with the greens. I want to start with shamrock. Shamrock's my oldest green that I have, that I got in May last year. And I'm just going to apply, I'm going to treat all three of these as one. So I'm not going to bother doing a little bit on the one and then a little bit on the other. They're going to be a unified set. Now this dye is extremely potent. So a little bit goes an extremely long way. Can we even see here? Let's get into some light there. Bring it closer. Some focus. See, there's almost nothing here on my fork. And that's the good and the bad thing of this is one can very easily put way too much. So I'm just going to grab a really tiny amount. Doing it in no specific order. Some bits, as you see there, went way thicker than other bits. I'm going to have overlapping bits, and then of course I must remember that I do have some other colors. The other thing that I found works really well is I have this really tiny wee little sieve. So what I can also do is take some color and then just tap it over the or through the sieve. But I think that's enough. So I'm going to put the lid on this one, which was shamrock. And we're going to put that over to the side with its fork so that I don't mix the colors. Let's lay that down there. And let's go for red next. I was feeling more like a bunch of flowers is what I'm getting at. So I've got the two different greens, some red, some indigo, which is more on the blue side, and then obviously some bright yellow. So here we have red now. So I like this, the idea with the sieve. Sure. So I'm just going to actually first see, because these will do more bits then. As they fall off the fork, it's going to create little mini clumps. Of course, if you get bored at any time, you can just press fast forward. If this interests you, you're more than welcome to watch to the very bitter end. And what I must also not forget about, talking about end, is the ends here where the yarn folds. Although when this is all said and done, I'm going to roll it up to put in the dye bath. Okay, that was that. Now I'm going to take a little bit more, not much more, and go through the sieve. Am I going to regret this? No. Okay, that was red. Oh, it's looking really nice. I will take you off the stand in a moment and show you what's going on. And as I opened this and started mixing with it, I could immediately smell it. And believe it or not, if you can smell something, then those particles are going into your nostril. So these dye powders are extremely fine. So I'm definitely breathing them in. So please don't do that. Please wear a mask. Respect your lungs. Don't do what Kleintoon does. Okay, now we have indigo. Indigo, I'm just going to do maybe a little pop here and there. As I said, I want some of it to actually overlap between the different hanks. Oh, this is going to be gorgeous. Okay, a little bit down this side. And that's that. I'm not going to even bother with the indigo and the sieve, because from previous experience, this indigo powder is so fine. It's been molded so finely, that there's no way that the sieve is even going to do anything. It's just going to fall straight through. So that was indigo, red, and shamrock. Now, let's go for more green. This is the peacock green. This is my newest green that I got at the beginning of this year, or end of last year, I forget. And let's get the lid off there. Let's grab a fork. This one's also really finely molded and extremely concentrated. Here I see also bits in, and there's just powder already everywhere. So I will use the sieve for this one. So I want a little bit more of this green. Yeah, you see there's, luckily I didn't just chuck it on, because there are little clumps of dye powder in here. Okay, I want a little bit more than that. So I'm just going to grab some little more. I'm really not using much. There's probably 0.0 something of a gram each time I dig my fork in here. But you'll see the second that, oopsie, I didn't want to do that. The second it gets wet, it will be a whole different picture. See, now I just chucked out the sieve on top. Stupid Kleintoon. Concentrate, concentrate. It's not too bad. Okay, that was peacock. Now for the bright yellow. This we just really want a pop here and there, because this bright yellow is, as the name suggests, quite bright. I wonder if I even need the fork for this. But this is very coarsely milled. So by contrast, this is way thicker. I think you'll see here if I show you these granules, you can actually even see the granules on the fork. So this looks like pollen. But having also said that, it can be put on a lot more liberally. So I'm just going to go for pops of color here and there. You must imagine these are now in your bouquet of flowers. Let's do some down this side. So we've got our green leaves, we've got our indigo, we've got some red and some yellow. I think that's enough. Let's just do a little bit more over there. And as I said, the idea is that it also goes through the layers a little bit. Not too much, but a little bit. I'm wondering now, perhaps, before I roll it up, I should give it a light spritz, just to hold the powders in place. Let's take this away. I'm just going to rinse off my hands. Also, what I want to do is put some water in a cup, and then I'm just going to see, unfortunately now you can't even see this because it's too dark at night, but there was literally nothing left on this fork, and just by rinsing it now in the water's gone green. I'm just going to rinse the rest of them because this powder goes everywhere. See, I just put the indigo in and suddenly it went dark blue. And the red, and lastly the yellow. And for good measure, I'm going to do the sieve as well. Yes, you can definitely see even on the camera, if you look through there, this water ain't clear anymore. And that was like a minute amount of dye. So yeah, this Ashford acid dye is extremely potent, which makes me think I better wipe off the counter here on the side. And here in the front, yeah, look there, already just wiping off the counter the dye there. It's probably here on the windowsill. I hope my landlords don't see this. They're going to wonder one day, what on earth was this guy doing in his kitchen? Anyway, that's that. Let's put these powders away in my little special drawer. And then we can move the dye bath closer. And I'll change the camera view and you can have a look at what's coming next. Gently fold up this cloth, put the dye bath back on the hot plates, take its lid off, and now we are deciding, are we going to, oh gosh, look at that, so pretty. All the different colors here. But I'm going to take you off the stand so that we can have a look a little bit closer. That's better. Okay, let's have a look. Gosh, you can see actually here. Oh, it's just fallen through. I mean, it's like, I don't want to say like mold on bread, but you get the idea. It is just amazing. Just all these different colors. You can see some of the reds. Here is some of the green that fell in a plop. There's the yellow. So this is all just going to be rolled up. Oh, that's stunning, man. And then I'm going to put it into the leftover dye baths from yesterday. There still is citric acid in here. There's still some water in here. That should all be fine. I'll definitely have to add some more. But now the question is, should I first spritz it or very gently roll it up and put it in? I think I'm going to just gently roll it up. So I'm going to put you back on the stand on this side, and then you can see that happen. Alrighty, let's do that. No gloves, no nothing. Let's do very carefully from one side. I'm just going to gently start rolling. And rolling and rolling. This is like rolling up candy floss. I can definitely see some color went through. You can see our roll. It looks like a Swiss roll. And the bottom can go in the bottom. And I'm just going to encourage it in a little bit. Okay, that's enough. The water can soak up the rest of the way. Just by lifting it up to the camera and showing you, there's already little spindles gone in here, which I don't mind too much about. So let's do the same with this one. I'm just going to roll and roll and roll. This is definitely going to be most interesting. Okay. Let's all roll. Let's give this a little pat. And put it on there. Just encourage it down. I find that the kid mohair wick is the right word. No? Wicks up the water much quicker because the fibers are so extremely fine. Also, that's a very cold dye bath. Okay, let's roll up this last one very carefully. You see, as I'm doing this, the dye is falling in between the fibers, which is perfect. It's coming up the edge there a little bit. And let's plop that in here. Just encourage it down a little bit, very gently. Okay, that's good. Oh, just wish you could see what's going on over there. Just magic. Working with dye powder is magic. The moment that this powder hits the water, it is just incredible. Just want to wipe off the counter there, but what I can show you is just now when I wiped off the edges with almost no dye on it, that's what it looks like. I'll show you what happens after I've wiped down the counter now. Let's try and do it just up and down, up and down. You'll get an impression of how much dye powder goes through there. This dye powder is extremely fine, extremely finely milled. The advantage of it is it only dyes animal protein fibers, and also only if you add heat and acid. So definitely wear cotton clothing, use cotton cloths, anything cotton related, because this dye powder cannot and will not dye cotton. It will dye your skin, stain your skin, let's put it that way, because you are protein based, as you can see here on my fingers. But that comes off relatively quickly and easily. So let's take you off the stand again so that you can see what I'm seeing here. It's just gorgeous. Oh, yeah, it's nearly gone already, but can you kind of see, if I show you the down there, see, it almost looks like a, there we go, like a space nebula scene. Gosh, it's really pretty. But I will now just allow these to soak up the water, the liquid, and then tomorrow morning I'll turn up the heat and then let them heat set, and we can see what happens. Now you can already see just some moisture has wicked up in there. And there's already some color through the particles you can see here on the edge. So I'm quite excited to see the rest or the results. You have a wonderful evening, a wonderful day, a wonderful whatever you're doing. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll chat soon. Bye.